Okay, hey, hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you're watching us. So good to be here with you. So if you can hear me well, if you can see me well, come on, say hello in the chat, right? We're gonna make this very, very, very interactive, right? So there's a chat wherever you're watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this on LinkedIn, or if you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on my channels or on Hugo's channels, on Mani's channels, no matter where you're watching this on So Java, right? So thank you very much for all the everyone on the Brazilian Java User Society. So good to be here with all of you. And so wherever you're watching this, say hello on the chat so we can see you. Tell me if you can see us well, if everything's working fine, right? So it's so good to be here with you. So today we're going to have a good discussion here on the out of the box developer, right? We're going to discuss about open source. We're going to discuss about developer skills. We're going to discuss about artificial intelligence. We're going to discuss about your career, right? So just say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're from. Now, uh, officially, we should be able to hear your chat no matter where you're coming from, right? But if I don't reply to you, maybe I'm not seeing your chat. So the place that we know it's guaranteed that you can come see the chat is on YouTube, right? So if you can join us on my YouTube channel, right? Um, okay, so I'm still trying. We're still having some technical problems here, but we just wanted to get started, right? And to actually be close to you. I know some of the Brazilians are on holiday today, right? So maybe like, oh, Bruno, we don't want to say anything in the chat, right? We just want to enjoy the holidays. That's okay. But if you're watching us, just say a quick hello. So let me bring here my good friends. Hey, hello, Ebert Ribeira, say Ebert Ribeira from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So hey Ebert, how you doing? So Ebert is Rio de Janeiro. So today is going on Carnival in Rio, right? So people say that in Brazil the year only starts after Carnival. So it's going to start Monday. Looks like our year is going to start Monday. That's awesome. I also see here Milton. There's also hello, hey Milton, how are you? Good evening. I also here Fernando. Fernando is also here from Ibirité, Minas Gerais. That's awesome. Okay, that's great. So I see people from LinkedIn. We see people from YouTube. That's awesome. Okay. Uh, um. So well, look, I'm here with my guest. I'm going to introduce my guest now. One of the guests, Money, we still don't see him, right? So Money saying that his microphone should be good, but Money, we still don't see you. I see you here in the backstage, but I don't see your camera. So if you can turn your camera on, just so I can see that you are here. Oh man, look at this, right? Uh, I can see here Alex Porcelli from Red Hat, right? So what an honor. Hey, my dear friend Alex, right? So, hey, Porcelli, how you doing, man? So Junior is from Brasilia. So hey, Junior, I'm also from Brasilia, Junior. I live in São Paulo, but I'm also from Brasilia. It's so good to have you here. Nilmara, I've met Nilmara in Campus Party, as you're saying, Campus Party, Brasilia. So that's awesome. All right. So let me check. Let me quickly try to see if we can bring our guests here. So today I have my good friend. He's an architect. He's a specialist in architecture, and he's participating here with us. Let me introduce to you Hugo Sakamoto. Hey Hugo, how you doing, man?
Oh, hey Bruno, hey everyone. Thanks for having me here today. Also, I'm excited to hear and discuss a lot about open source, AI, and architecture. Of course, that's where I like to talk about. So, thank you very much.
Okay, that's awesome. And I'm gonna bring the guy. He is, he's my partner here at the, the out of the box developer. and he's a Java champion, leader of the London Java user group, actually the London Java community, right? So Mani Sarkar, hey Mani, how you doing, man? So we don't hear nor see Mani, unfortunately, right? So something's going wrong on Mani's sides. We know he's here because his name is right there on the chat, right? So you guys have probably seen him, but we don't hear nor see you, Mani. Mani says that he can see us and he can hear us, but we don't hear you nor see you, Mani. Yeah, something's is weird and wrong here. I don't know what's going on, Mani, but so see if we can do this something again, and see if we can come back, right? So yeah, that's technologies like this. Sometimes it doesn't work. So Mani's gonna try again. That's awesome. Thanks a lot, Mani, for your effort. All right. So I see here Flávio Carvalho from Campo Grande. No, sorry, from Campos, Rio de Janeiro. Not Campo Grande, but Campos, Rio de Janeiro. That's awesome. Hey, Flávio, how are you doing? And also Janjiro, and he is from Aracaju. That's awesome. Hey, Janjiro, how you doing, man? That's so good. So good to have all of you here. So, Hugo, where are you speaking from?
Oh, well, I'm very close with Bruno. Now I'm from São Paulo, but for a long time I lived in Minas Gerais, Belo Horizonte. And also, I don't remember the name, but someone told that it's from Ibirite, Minas Gerais. It was pretty close from where I was living before. And I remember that we adopted a dog, and my dog is from Ibirite, Minas Gerais. Just a curiosity. And yeah, I think uh, I think there's plenty of people from all around Brazil, so that's really cool to have this connection here, and and see here your questions about all of those topics that we mentioned and we want to discuss here about career, about open source, especially open source and AI or architecture. So if you want to uh, take a step forward and just short your questions here, we'll be happy to think about and discuss here on live.
Exactly. The whole objective for us here is to help you advance your career, talking about anything that you guys want to discuss, anything that you want to talk about, in terms of open source or career or architecture or, how to become a Java champion, because Mani is a Java champion. We're going to be waiting for Mani here. Let's see if Mani can finally join us. Mani's trying, while you guys are there, Mani's trying to join us, but we still don't see him for some reason, right? He just joined again. I'm just gonna put him here. We still don't see you, Mani. I'm sorry about that, man. And maybe you can say something to see if we can hear your voice. I don't know what's going on, Mani. If you can, try to join us from the cell phone. See if that works, man. Something's clearly wrong, and I don't know what it is. Okay, so all right, so Marco says that he's from São Paulo. So thanks a lot. Hi, Marco. That's awesome. Thanks for being here with us. And then Mimar Aslan says the inspirational master of Java Man. Right. So thanks a lot, Mimar. That's awesome. God bless you too, Mimar. So that's great to have you here. All right. So Hugo, let me tell you one thing. So you've been, you don't usually work with artificial intelligence, do you?
Yes, I have some. I participated in a project that works with data science, optimization, and AI solution. But I'm not the guy that implements it and apply those models and create those models. I'm the guy that who creates all the infrastructure, all the architecture that will support those
Mhm.
kinds of solutions. So yeah, that's
Right.
most of my reality.
That's awesome. But you have joined in Money's open source AI project lately, right? So even though you're not the guy that does open source, I mean that does artificial intelligence, you did jump into that project. And you guys been collaborating So how has that been?
Oh yeah, and yes, it has been very fun for me because even if it's not the AI is not my main focus of my activities, my the things that I like I talk about. Uh, every piece of software that you need to create and scale at some level, you need some architectural point of view there to contribute to support that solution. So in that point of view, I think I could explore a lot how we can uh, deploy that chatbot conversation solutions,
Mhm.
just to give more context for everyone. Actually, this chatbot conversation open source project, it was created by many to start to have an environment where people can start their first steps contributing with AI, their first steps with AI. So one of the one of very common problems that you can see on AI field, it's creating a chatbot that can uh, reply to you some message. You write something to him, and he tries to reply with something that is meaningful at least, and then and for that you need some infrastructure to make it available, push it into some environment and some server, and receive this message, and also send the replies. Of course, in a offline your own computer, you can do all of these stuff. But in this project, many wants to achieve more. He wants to escalate it more. He wants that each people can write their own chatbot that can connect with the environment that man provided. So many different chatbots implemented by many different people can shout each other, and you can see what it becomes. And it was pretty fun. Sometimes it's just go in a loop, but other times some better implementation, some more sophisticated implementation might bring you some very fun conversation. So that's something that is what a chatbot conversation project is. And for that, I think I explored a lot of tools that can help to achieve the purpose of the project, that is providing that environment, that infrastructure that will support it. So we are just starting, of course. It's a money give the first step, and I'm helping him with implementations of some script for people to contribute, and containerizing it, the solution, and so on. So in that point of view, it's very interesting for anyone that's looking after software architecture to have to have touch in tools that can help then solve the problem.
Okay, that's awesome, man. So we're gonna bring Money. So Money is here in the backstage now. Let me bring Money in, and then we're gonna see some more comments on from the group. So hey, Money, how you doing, man?
Hello,
To see
hello.
you. To
I
see
hope
you
you can
and
hear
hear
me
you. That's
and
awesome.
see me.
Yes,
Can you? Can you hear me and see me?
yes, we can hear
All
you
right.
and see.
I mean, I don't understand, but hey, I just rebooted and started another session and it worked. But I was able to see all of you while just like this, and everybody's saying, "Oh, I cannot see you, I cannot hear you, but I can see you and hear you here." So,
Okay.
anyways, I think Hugo did a good job of introducing it, so I didn't need to be here, and that was a good thing that there was a technical issue, because otherwise Hugo is always sitting in the back seat and he's waiting for me to say things, and Bruno's saying things, and then Hugo doesn't say anything, he's shy. So I'm glad this technical issue happened, so somebody got to introduce the project, because Hugo is leading the project. Actually, if you see, he's got more commits on the project than me.
Awesome. That's great.
And I want to say this in front of the community: the quickness in which Hugo picked up this project. I only showed him some hints, showed him some links, showed him some examples, and he merged all of that in this project. If you now go to master, it's in a much better state than it was when we started. And he's coming up with all these good ideas, and we're going to very incrementally and evolutionarily develop this project, so everybody can see how you can take a piece of software in baby steps and introduce good features in it. You don't need to introduce sophisticated features in one night. You do step by step. You clean it up slowly, piece by piece, refactor it slowly, and that way we learn, we show, and the product also improves. And I've been showing it to different people. And every time you do these things, like if you now see, I'll actually show the issues list, which I'd like to share with everybody. You can see we didn't have any issues in the issues list, and now we've got lots of ideas that we want to work on. And all of these are great ideas, and everybody in the community is invited. Come and join Hugo and myself. Bruno's product managing. He's doing product ownership. Usually he's not managing anybody. He's just helping us self-manage. He's only giving us moral support, which is the most important thing, right?
I'm doing the lives, right? I'm doing here and having a conversation here. So that's
awesome. Bruno's preparing 15 days for this 1 hour. That's how he's.
That's great. Okay, so good. So let me quickly say some hellos here. I see some more people saying hello. So let me see. Augustus say hello. Hey, Augustus, how are you doing? Gabi saying hello too. Hey, hi guys. Hi, Gabi. And then Drabo Constantine. Hey, Drabo. So good to see you here, man. So Drabo saying hello. And then Rachel saying, good to see you, Bruno. Hello to Hugo, logging in from New Jersey, I think, right? NJ should be New Jersey. Is that right, Mani? I don't know.
Yes, NJ is New Jersey.
All right.
Well, I think it is. It could be something else also.
Yeah. All right. Okay, cool. Awesome. So good to have you here. Urania saying, she missed me. So, hey, Urania, how long time don't see. So awesome. All right, good. So lots of
great to see new faces.
Yes, lots of new faces here. That's awesome. So good to have you all here. All right. So, look, guys, I'm going to start with a question from the audience, right? Because, you guys know that whatever we decide to talk here, the audience takes precedence, right? Whatever people in the audience ask. So if you're watching us here, right, whatever you ask, that's the topic that we're going to discuss. So Mimar says, what should be considered when choosing technology in the project? And that's exactly what you guys are doing right now, right? You're starting new projects, and Hugo's talking about containers, and you coming talking here about artificial intelligence and how to do the projects, and you share the GitHub issues that you guys have. So how are you guys choosing all of that, right? How are you choosing the container technology? How are you choosing where to put this? Why are you choosing all those things, right? Can you guys tell us a little bit what we consider when you choose the technology?
Hugo, you want to give a start since you joined the project and everything is new to you. So your perspective is far more important than for me, because I know this project for 1 year now, and you just started a month ago.
Sure. Okay. For me, when I have to choose some technology, I always try to drive for the problem that we are trying to solve. So that's the pinpoint. That's where I believe that we should start everything. But also, I always take into account the team that will have to implement that, or the people that you want to contribute if you are on open source, and that is very important, because it's not just you creating stuff and creating. We have a lot this hype that we want to test new technologies. Of course, we can try all those new things, but when you are trying to consolidate some projects and products, you have to see what the problem needs. So you have to trade off about the constraints, about the scalability that it will need, the availability that it will need, all these architectural requirements that the problem needs. Also the team that we'll have, and yeah, I think that still is the most important thing that I took in account when I start anything that I have to choose about, and always have to trade off, because I never find some solution that is, oh, okay, this solves all my problems. This solves this problem, this part of the problem, but I will lose in this, and that one I have that, but I will lose in that. So you always have to trade off which one it will be the most impactful in your project and will benefit more. to you.
Yes, trade-offs, right? Projects is always about trade-offs, right? So, no matter what you're doing, no matter, Mimar, no matter what you're doing, it's always about trade. Actually, your career is also about trade-offs, right? You have to choose things that make sense. You have to choose things that make sense for you on that moment, on that company, for where you want to get, right? So it's all about, it's always all about trade-offs. That's, Mani. You said that you've been working on this project for a whole year, right? So why you start this project, and what kind of technology consideration you had to put into it?
So great question, actually. So I'll say I didn't work continuously for the whole year, but
Mhm.
a year, actually more than a year ago, I gave a presentation, and you'll see the links on the README page. There was a presentation I had to give, and so I came up with a demo. And so when you do something like this, you don't create a finished product which you work on for 10 years, right, to give a demo. You create something from scratch to just solve the problem, to present your idea at the presentation. So which is what I did. The idea was, I understood that chatbots, like, you could use models.
Whoa. Yes.
We lose many.
Yes. Money simply disappear from us here. Okay, that happens, right? So he's gonna be back in a minute. I don't know what he did. Maybe he pressed the turn off button, right? So yes. And so just kind of getting back. So Money's talking about the spending a year in the project, and Mimar, really, every time that we're talking about projects, about technology, right? It's, as Hugo's talking about, it's always a trade-off, right? So if you use this particular technology, how fast can you do? How easy is going to be for your team? Is it going to solve the biggest problem that you have, right? Is that something that is this project like a long-term project you need like the best things right now, or can you start slow? Can you start small? Can you start something easy? Okay, so Money's back, right? So hey, Money.
Hey, sorry, I didn't realize I got disconnected, but I don't know which part of the answer you heard and didn't hear, but I could start all over again.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
so what I was saying is that a year ago I had to give a presentation, and I had to quickly come up with something to relay my idea. And the immediate thing that came to me is, you have these AI bots that you can create, and human beings can talk to them. What if they talked to each other, right?
Mhm.
Because if a human being talks to AI bot, it'll be half sensible conversation. But if two bots talk to each other, how will that conversation look like? And so what if I introduce a third bot or a fourth bot? So that was idea number one. Idea number two was, how do I build these bots? What technology do I use? Oh, I know Haliden, I know Micronaut, I know Quarkus, I know all these frameworks, right? What if I make a bot from each of those frameworks? I put a REST endpoint on them, and I create another central server with which receives and sends messages also through REST calls, and then you make them communicate with each other, and they are all backed with AI models of different types, right? So that way you're competing with the whole system here. One model is competing with the other model, and then the quality of the conversation will tell us which model is able to sustain the conversation for a long time and also make sensible conversation. In none of those models made any sensible conversations. Even the first instance they started talking, right? But that's beside the point, because this is a great skeleton template, or a template where we can replace those models at any time with smart models, right? Which really makes sense, right? So we are actually creating a template, and also what's missing here is a queuing system, because the messages are getting lost in the current model, which we're working on. But if you take the whole architecture into consideration, you have a hub and spoke system here. And so the ends of the spoke can be replaced with any smart models, and the hub remains constant, and there's no programming required. Each person can come with their own spoke, attach it to the hub, and they are in the system, and then they talks to each other, right? And hence the next thing we thought at how can we make it easy for someone to run this? Because when Hugo ran it the first time, he says, oh, I'm having this problem, but what happens if I run it on another computer? I said, why don't we just containerize it, so people can just download the container and run it on the system? So that's the next idea that came to our mind, that we will containerize the thing. And that's what we did. We hosted it on Docker Hub, and now there are only two commands needed to run the program: git clone Docker run. That's it. And the program's running. They don't need to do anything. And nothing's installed on their computer because it's all in the Docker container. And it downloads the model and all that stuff. So this is how we incrementally improve the project instead of trying to build some sophisticated stuff. Now, the next thing we will build is a queuing system, a very simple queuing system where the messages don't get lost. And the next thing we want to build is a modular system where people can introduce their chatbots. They have to follow some small protocol that it needs to have a REST endpoint and call a certain port and all that, and just introduce it in the system and run the whole system, and it'll recognize that bot. And new bots can keep coming into the system, and we can see the conversation going more crazy, right? Which means new bots with more intelligence can come in and dominate and produce better conversations, right? So Hugo introduced another idea. Why don't we have a front end so we can connect into the system and human beings can talk to the bots, right? So that's a great idea, right? As well. So those will come incrementally. So you build a system in an evolutionary, step-by-step, incremental baby step process. And we are always trying to do easy baby steps because we are all doing this as a pet project, right? After work. Hugo and I are talking after work like for 3 hours, and we can't do that every day. So we need to do smart, think pragmatically, something that we can finish in 3 hours. That puts the pressure on us to do and make technology choices that are not sophisticated, but simple, quickly done, and finished in 1 or 2 pull requests.
Right. And
so that's my answer to that question.
Yeah, no, and especially because you guys have a specific goal in mind, right? You want to have fun, you want to learn new things, you want to allow for other people to experiment and learn.
Exactly.
Right. So so those are constraints that you guys are looking for, right? And so and I think that what you guys are doing, right, that is, I think that's awesome that you create a project that makes it very easy for someone to just kind of create one piece of smart a spoke that you're talking about, right? So I can experiment with that, but instead of trying to do everything, I can just connect that to what you guys already have, and then I have something that I can experiment with, and I love the idea of having a human person to join in the conversation, because then even if I don't have any intelligence module that I can add to the system, I can add myself.
Yeah, exactly. Your own intelligence to the system. Spot on.
And enjoy it and have fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Mimar is asking, how should we guide a friend who has just joined a software team, right? He has a lot to learn. How should the guidance be? And I think that's a great question. People here are awesome, asking awesome questions, because isn't that exactly what you guys are doing right now? You know, Hugo has just joined the project, right? It's a 1 year old project that Mani has been working on it by himself and on and off. And so Hugo has just joined the project. So what do you do, Mani? Do you just throw Hugo at it and say, go do whatever you want, right? So how do you get someone to start?
So Hugo is very senior, right? So I could put him in the deep end, and I did that as well. And I wrote in the pull request somewhere that this is an interesting challenge to solve, because I put him in the deep end and I knew he would come out of it. And he did come out of it. And he came out with shining colors, right? Plus, he also has now put the project in a state that all my other ideas that I have, I can easily implement, right? So there's 2 steps to it. You got to first assess the level of the person who's joining the team, right? I did this with Hugo because I know I can pull him out of it. I can give him a few tips and he'll be out of that. And also he can invest. He's got the capability to investigate and, give him a few hints and he'll just go running with it. But whoever joins the team, you got to assess all of these things. You got to see how junior they are, how senior they are. Can they run with it? Are they scared? Are they going to ask you too many questions? Do they need a lot of help? So I think the best thing to do is give low hanging fruits, right? So I did that with Hugo. I think we started off a very simple thing. We said, why don't we just containerize this application, which appeared to be a simple thing, but you need to then learn all the other hoops of the system, right? So it's a simple low hanging fruit, but you still need to know all some bells and whistles around it. So, and I stopped him also from going a longer way. And I said, let's do the short one first, and then we do a long one later, because when you do the short one, you learn how to do the long one, because the template of the long one is in the short one already. You need to do the short one. Don't do the long one. So you got to do all of that, because that's what's going to happen. Someone who joins the team, they want to learn everything. They know less. They might want to take the long route. You got to show them the short route. You got to show them that the short route is the template to the long route. Once you know the short route, it's a compressed way to know the long route. So those are the ways, and I don't have to explain them, but I just direct them in that way. And when it clicked to Hugo, he did it, and now he knows how to solve the other problems. He's got 6 other issues that are broken. That's going to break this big problem into smaller problems. But now he knows how to fix them because he's already fixed the big problem in a small problem way. So those are the things to know. Assess the person gut feeling, the experience, how they run with it. You need to also have low hanging fruits in your system. That means you yourself should know what are the things or which angle your system should be approached from. Because if you don't know that and you give them the wrong problem, you'll never get anything done. You'll add more technical depth to your system. So that's the thing. So always have a backlog of list of things that you want to achieve and have levels of granularity in it. So then you can pick up the low hanging simple ones, give it to them, they run with it, and then guide them as well, because they might take the long route.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that I
Sorry.
want Hugo to tell his side of that story there. But one interesting thing that I think is that although you said Hugo is very senior and very experienced, that and indeed he is, and Mimar is talking about someone that's just started, just is a junior, but it doesn't matter how senior you are, right? If you get into a project where you don't know what to do,
Exactly.
and whatever needs to be done, right, whatever the other person wants you to do, it's not your main skill, right?
Exactly.
You're gonna get lost, right? So
Yeah.
finding what the person can actually do, right? If it's a senior person, it's a junior person, if it's a more like a sysadmin, more like an architect, he's more a Java coder, or he's whatever that person is, right? So find out what do the person know and try to match that to something that they can do, right? Not just learn and look, right? Something that they can do, even if it's small, right?
Exactly.
And I think that sounds like what you went to do, Hugo. So can you explain to us what you went to do?
Yeah, exactly. I think I wish to add, like having those. If you are like me, I just joined the project and I didn't have the entire idea about uh, what what what's the end goal that Mani wants to reach. I when I first heard his idea, I thought some other things. So yeah, as much as you can detail it and break the problem in small steps. And you have, as Mani said, you have to know how do you want to guide those people that is just joining it, because people, we can always have a very different idea of the same thing. So having these small steps gave me at least a lot of uh, touches about how the project is organized and how it works, and then where Mani needs stuff to be working, and what is the main issue that he wish to solve here. So having these small steps, it's very important when you are introducing any new project to a new joiner. And I see that how open source project is very mature on this kind of work. At least for me, working in many private projects inside a company, I see that that are some great practices from open source that is already driving all those how can I say, people contributions in a way that they can actually contribute in a very small issues, very small tickets, and they can start understanding things, and then grow inside that in a small steps. Yeah, I think that was a great thing that I realized it, during this experience. And yeah, I think it's working very well. And of course, Mani is very kind. Being kind is very important, so people don't get scared about
Yeah.
talking about the problems, about things that
Exactly.
they don't know. So yeah, and he's always available for feedback, and okay, this one for reviewing also the ticket that you are so your solution, it's also very insightful for me. Like, oh, okay, that was a small difference here, and it will be much more consistent with the entire project if you follow this way. So yeah, I think that's some stuff that I get very in a very valuable from this experience.
Mhm.
So
And Mani,
that yeah.
you were saying that you're kind and you review, and so there's all kinds of skills, right? That you guys had to have in this project. I mean, you had to communicate with each other, right? You had to find a common time. I mean, you guys are different time zones, and you had to find a common time that worked. You also had to, to see what each other are doing. I mean, you, Mani, had to see what you're doing, and you had to try to explain, and you had to review what Hugo's doing. So tell us, Mani, how you're leading this effort, right? You're the guy who's been working for a longer time. You're transferring. So what are these skills that you think are important for someone to lead a project like you're doing?
So I have seen in my experience, and I've actually spoken to junior people as well, and senior people as well, and people of all levels. Like I was at a shop nearly a month ago. This person was junior, but at the store, I could see he was just trying to learn in a non-technical store. I was trying to buy something. In fact, I got a phone call from that shop today that my order has come in. When actually he processed a refund for my order as well. But the thing is, the guy was so pleasant in his conversation and friendly, and he never showed anything like judgment or anything in his conversation, right? And any difficulty that I had in the transaction, he was ready to solve. He gave me a phone call. He said, come over to the store, bring your card, I'll refund you the money. And even when he was taking the order, he was like, if he was making mistakes, he was apologetic. And the whole thing, that humility, modesty, that counts, not what he knows, because he can learn a lot more now, because I will mentor him and teach him coding from start to finish, because I know I'll have the least difficulty communicating with him, interacting with him and feeling good about, because if he's not feeling good about something, he's not going to go in a negative mode, but he's going to be professional, he's going to be pleasant, kind, and it's easy to communicate with, and kindness will automatically come out of you when you deal with such a person, right? If I'm always constantly dealing with you with anger and aggression, you're going to have more, you're mature, you're going to still have difficulty dealing with me. After a while, you say, I got to talk to this person and say, I'm not mentoring you anymore, not because I don't have the time. That'll be your excuse. I'm busy, I've got another client coming in. You're great, but I can't mentor you anymore. You got to be like that, diplomatic, right? You cannot make them feel bad. But that's what leads the state, right? So I don't think technical skills are that important. I think soft skills are that important. It took me 20 years to figure that out, because 20 years ago, I was just developing my hard skills. Right. Nobody told me, you got to develop your soft skills. Because if I developed my soft skills, then I would be, 20 years ahead of what I am now. So it took 20 years to understand like that you need to develop soft skills. So the answer to your question is, that's what is needed, because you got to be empathetic to the other person, right? He or she is doing free work on your open source project. Their time is more important than your time, right? Because they are putting away their free time after their work, taking interest in learning your project, creating a pull request, trying to understand your goals and trying to push your goals forward. In return to what? In return to the kindness and humility and gratitude that you need to return back to them. So that's and these are all hard, right? Because when we are focused on a technical project, we're only tunnel vision on that goal. I want to get 200 stars on my project. I want 50 people to fork it. I want 500 likes on Twitter handle. You don't care about the person. Okay, I want what else? Like, yeah, we want to lead the project. We want to be under this foundation. You don't care about the person who's actually putting their blood and sweat and spending their late hours at night or after work. So those are the things to consider. So when I have to think about all these things, because I've been in the same space before and I've been treated in different manners, so then I know how to treat other people. And so that's the answer to your question, like what it is for me, the skills. I mean, it's more an automatic thing that triggers in you after you do this yourself.
That's awesome. So we've been talking so much about this project, right? That just make sure that everyone has access to the project itself, right? So here's the URL, right? You can take a look. We're gonna put that URL on the on the description below, right? So you guys can have access. But it's chatbot conversations on GitHub, right? So now Metrics 369 is, of course, our good friend here, Mani. So make sure that you just click on the project right now. Add your star, right? Mani wants 200 stars to the project. So how about you go there, and you add your star right now, right? So and we get that number counting right now. So you can start participating. You can start. You can join the projects. That's gonna be awesome. All
I
right.
should have said 2,000 projects, stars.
We got
200 stars. I've got.
Yeah,
It's okay.
we can get we to get to 2000. We got to pass by the 200 at some point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's no other way, right?
All right. Okay. So I don't want to change a lot of the subject here. Mimar has some other questions here, and so there is Mani's putting here.
So there's a one-liner command that you can type on your command line to clone the project and to run it, provided you have Docker installed on your computer. That's it.
Right. Okay, so I'm putting here. Yeah, so that is the comment. The Mani. I just put the comment there. That is the one that's the command that you need to do, right? Git clone, and then actually I should have because
we can't do it on new lines, right? So actually you have to go into the folder of the project and then run Docker runner. But right. I'm sure everybody on this call knows how to go about with this, and the README also helps. So it's just to make it easy to get started. That's exactly what I want.
Right, exactly. Okay, good. So let me just say hello to my good friends, Juan Brazil, right? Juan Monteiro is a good friend from Canada. Hey, it's a Brazilian that lives in Canada. Hey, Juan, so good to have you here, man. Awesome. All right. So I don't want to change subjects too much, but there's two questions from Mimar here that I'm going to go to the second question because it has more to do with what we're talking about here about mentoring and being a manager. And Mimar asks, what do you think about the project manager being a software developer? Right? Does it enable more productive work for the team? What are the positive and negative effects of that? So that's what you guys are doing, right? So the project manager in this case is Mani, and Mani is a software developer, and he's also helping out Hugo, that is the developer here. We're just using you guys as an example of what we should be doing in the real world, right? And of course you are in the real world too, right? But what you should be doing in our project. So Hugo, what do you think, man? Do you think that the fact that Mani is a software engineer helps you or hinders you as a developer for this project?
Well, at least for me, I think not being a software developer or not, I think doesn't change so much. I think it's much more about taking responsibility and treating others with respect, and anyone that knows how to do it, it would be a good project manager, because you'll be dealing with people at all the time, and understanding what how you can help them achieve better, effectively, faster their goals is the way that you will also achieve your goals. And once you understand that, I think you will be a good manager, independent of being a software developer or not. Of course, being software developers helps a lot to get this empathy, because you also had those technical track that you also know how to develop things. What is the challenges that you had in the past might slightly change with the ages, but yeah, you have a much more idea than a person that never touched in a software before. I think that's one point that can add. In the other side, yeah, this engineering and mind. I think I see people says a lot that you have an engineering mind, so you don't understand about people, and I don't believe that's true. I think there are engineers that really understand people and have and deal very well with them, and engineers that is really much more task and execution, and it's much more focused on that. So it really depends on the guy, on the person, that will be managing it, not about their track that they had in the past.
Okay, that makes a lot of
That's
sense.
my bet.
Yes, and I think that kind of mirrors what you're talking before, right, Mani? That's it's not only about the technical skills, about being able to talk with people and communications and all that. And Mani, my question is that those skills, I think there's a big important point here that actually I think there's a very, very big important point there we have to think about, is that the fact that you are a software engineer, right? If you want to grow your career to the next level, right? And what is the next level? Now, it could be being a manager. It could be a next level for you. It could actually be what we call the staff plus position. There are more technical positions beyond the senior level position. It could be, you could go to build your own company, for example. All of those, or it could be like money, that you are an independent consultant, for example. So all of these could be next steps for you as a senior, beyond senior developer. And all of those steps require, right, those new skills that Mani is talking about, those skills, those soft skills that Mani is talking about, require that you become different than a software engineer. I think it's very, very important that there is a big difference between a senior software engineer and the next level. The next level is not just doing what you did before. Right? Oh, yes, now I'm a senior software engineer. I'm going to do the next step. I'm just going to be a better senior engineer. No, that's not how it works, right? For you to grow your career, you need to change what you do. So, Mani, those are the skills that, of course you have, because you are a independent consultant, you're a freelancer, and that requires all kinds of new skills for you to do that. And so when you're doing an open source project like you're doing, and you're helping Hugo, for example, are you practicing those skills?
It's automatically coming to me also, because I know we are working in a very relaxed environment. There are no demands. If the pull request doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. Sometimes I don't have time for 2 days to review the request, and he knows it, but he's working on other things and he's busy with other things. So in a way, this project is also helping me practice those skills again and again, because you can tend to forget it. And what better way to practice it than in an open source project, which doesn't have the pressures, but also you're dealing with time zone difference, cultural difference, people difference, all kinds of differences, right? Energy level differences. We also think differently, right? You were previously talking about brains, right? So there's no left and right brain. There's actually 4 quadrants to the brain. And we have preferred quadrants. And sometimes we use all of them. Sometimes we use some of them. Sometimes we use only one of them. And so we are very different in that sense, right? So to manage all of that intuitively and through experience, and also understanding what is important, right? Really, at this point at the end, it's the fun bit that's important. Doesn't matter if it doesn't work, because we had instances where for 2 days we were trying to fix this Python issue and it wasn't going away. And then I did some more stuff and I pushed some commits and I said, Hugo, let's test this now. And it worked. And then he did some more stuff. And then we fixed another bug the other day, which is now going to be making it easier to build stuff on the local machine. So things like that make a difference. Had we just, quarreled on this because something I didn't do properly in the past and now it's come up, and we've never fixed that problem and we'd only build up. And then I have one contributor who's giving his time once in a while or once in a few days. I wouldn't even have that, right? So what is important? One is plenty, right? They say, there's a saying in English, right? A bird in hand is worth 2 in a bush.
Right.
If you know what that means. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I just want to quickly, since you mentioned the brain and you mentioned, there's all the kind of questions about skills and everything. I just want to give everyone that's watching here a book, right? So maybe some of you guys already have that, but I wrote this little book. It's called The Best Developer Year, right? It's a book to help you grow your career, to help you plan your next step, your next level of your career. So if you come to this page here, actually, I'm just going to go down a little bit. So if you come to this page, you can put your name and email there, and you're going to receive that book for free, right? The Best Developer Year is going to help you get your career moving in the right direction, moving the direction that you want to move, right? It's going to help you think about the skills, like, Mani is talking about, having the soft skills and practice things and participate in open source, all of those things that you might want to do because that's what you want in terms of your career. So that book's not going to teach you all of that, right? It's going to help you think about what you really want and find the time to do all those things. find what kind of skills you need to do all those things. So that book's going to help you think and plan your career. So if you if you want to do that, download this book right now. And you're also going to get this interesting thing, because you're also going to get an email from me, and you can reply to that email and ask some other question, right? So, for example, Mimar is talking about here that we are waiting for a video from Javaman on making mistakes, right? And the reason why he's saying that is because he received an email from me a few days ago talking about mistakes, right? So yes, Mimar, if you ask questions, man, that's how we do videos. We answering your questions, right? So why, let me just kind of, before I go to the next question, Mimar says, you're very valuable people, right? I learned great experience while I listen to you. Thank you for your answers. So thanks a lot, Mimar. We still have a few more minutes here. We just want to make sure that, so Mani just subscribed. Congrats. Your book is on the way to your emails. Thanks a lot, Mani. Awesome. So that's great. Okay. So, I want it all, says Urania. That's great. Okay, good. So, last chance for you to get the URL right there. I'm going to put it on the chat in a minute, but I want to get back here to Mimar has some other interesting questions here that we're going to talk about. And so Mimar asked the following question here. I thought it was very interesting, and it's going to change the subject a little bit, guys, but bear with me. I think there is an interesting question. Mimar says, we are cleaning the code in the project, right? How do we know if the code is clean? How can we decide this? Look, I'm going to let Mani and Hugo talk about how they can know the code is clean on their project. But Mimar, I just want you to think about one thing, right? Imagine, how do you know your house is clean, right? And that's a very hard, I know it might seem easy, right? There's not dirt in the floor, right? So it might be an easy way to answer. But the truth is, you don't, right? It's never clean, right? Think about it, right? Your code, it's never clean, Mimar. Never. Why? Because it might be clean in one way, but if you look in details, you might see some other things that need to be adjusted, right? And the code improves, right? So there's more things that happen. There's more people that come to your house, right? And then when more people come to your house, it's fun, right? You have friends coming over, and it becomes great. It becomes fun. That's why you clean your house to begin with, right? So you can receive your friends. But when your friends come and you have fun, then the house naturally gets dirty. It's not because your friends are dirty. It's just because, people walk in and out, and they change things, they change places, and you have to put food in places, and then things get dirt because we're doing something, right? And not only that, is it clean enough, right? Is your house as clean as a hospital, for example? Is it as clean as a surgery? Like a not surgery, but
a laboratory,
like a
lab
laboratory thing, as a laboratory, right? Is it as clean as a place where they build chips, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not, right? Of course, it's not, right? And does it need to be? Companies spend millions of dollars, right, to build clean rooms, to build chips, for example, right? Are you going to have a place like this in your house? No, because it would be a hassle. It would be terrible, right? If your house were as clean as a chip building facility, what would happen? Every time you go in and out of your house, you would have, to change clothes and use those crazy, and that would be a terrible inconvenience for you, right? So you could not live your life, right? So the reality, Mimar, is, that's a very hard question to answer, but how clean is clean enough, right? And so with that, I'm going to throw this very hard question to those guys here, because they're doing their project, and what kind of clean do you want? What are you looking for in terms of clarity, in terms of easy to understand code? Why you want your code clean, guys?
Well, I think I can start, because I want to hear from Mani later, and the difficult part to Mani. Let the difficult part to Mani. But
Okay, go on, Hugo.
but for me, as I believe as an architect, I believe that architecture are in the software. To many people believe that is a technical requirement for the project to work. But I really like the a definition from Ralph Johnson about architecture. That is the way that you communicate the important pieces, components in your software to and how it works. So it is more like a social requirement to enable you to work together with another other people, other teams, so you can start contributing it, and you don't have much too much difficulty to have contributions there. So if it's working well with people entering, and I love the Bruno's example. Like if people enter in your house, and he knows where's the cup, the glass that he needs to get to take water. So I think it's clear enough to receive some some people at your home. And yeah, and if it's too much people, you might have to make some more refactor more your home to receive these more people. But I think that's something that I would try to answer a question. But of course, it's not very easy. Also, this example is my answer is not full. But yeah, I think it's some a good start point to see if how much people are getting trouble to understand how things are working and how they can contribute in your project. I think it's a good start point. And I remember another a charge that says about the what the fuck counter. So how many times people says what the fuck while you're reading your project might be a good indicator also. But it was just a joke charge from I read somewhere, I don't remember now from where.
So
Okay,
so
that's awesome.
so I think between Bruno and Hugo, most of the answers already delivered at a high level of abstraction. So the philosophy and the principles are very well explained by both of them, right? And that is what you want to keep in mind. So if you know Conway's law, that's also something to know, right? The design of your system is a reflection of the communication of your organization. So think about it. You keep cleaning your house, you keep cleaning your code, but the root cause is not the cleaning of your code, right? The root cause is the communication in your organization, right? Clean that first, then your code will become cleaner. Okay, so let's say that's not in your hands. Let's say that's in the hands of those people who can clean that organization and clean the communication in the organization. But when it comes to code, this is what I also learned from one of the very strong developers I started working with 5-6 years ago. He says code is always going to remain suboptimal. And it's important that the most changed aspects of your code or regions of your code remain semi suboptimal. Simply because if you make it clean, it'll become brittle when you start changing and making changes in those areas. So don't worry about those clean code and code complete book things that they say. Yes, it's good to follow them, but if you go to the hilt with them, you're going to create a brittle code base, which means every time you're trying to change something, it'll cost you more to bring new things in, and then you'll cry because, oh, this was looking so good, and now you introduce this, you're a bad developer. That code was good, and this is not good code. The way to go about with it is also like this, right? Systematically. Try to use a tool as a guardrail up to a certain point. Like, for example, maybe you like this tool or you don't like this tool, but I use it as a guardrail. I'll install Sonar Cube. Okay. I'll take the guidelines from Sonar Cube and I'll switch it off, because Sonar Cube will help you get all levels of issues, and you pick up the low hanging fruits, you pick up the important ones, you ignore the false positives, you ignore the false negatives, you ignore the ones that are irrelevant, and pick only the ones that are important, like security, this, that, and the other. Switch it off. Then you start looking at which are the most changed aspects of your code. And there are lots of tools available on Git related things. You can find out who changes the code most, which are the most changed aspects of the code. Find the owners of the code, make them clean the code so that it's readable and maintainable and changeable. Forget the clean code books and forget what about the other intelligent people talk about clean code and all those stuff. That's comes secondary. Primary is what Hugo and Bruno said: communication. Code is communicating with you. You are communicating with the code. Is the code reading English? Is it in the right levels of abstraction? Are the methods long and short enough? Not too long, not too short. Are the names good in the code, right? Is the domain concepts in the code explained? Not technical domains, no types and controllers and all that stuff the Spring people like, right? All the model MVC. Why do you bring that language in the code? That should not be in the code. It should be transparent. Does the code read English? Does it reflect your business domain? That is clean code for me. From start to end, if I state, are the acceptance tests at the highest level? Is it full covered, code covered? That is clean code, because that will drive the shape of the code automatically. And if the acceptance test is there, then the language of the remaining parts of the code, from the high level of abstraction to the low level abstraction, probabilistically should be there in the domain language of the business, not the domain language of the technical stuff that we are using, right? Because if I delete all your code and I take all your tests and rewrite it in another language, I should be able to do that with zero loss of business features. Think in those types of terms and then approach the code complete thing. Otherwise, code complete is useless. Clean code is useless, right? If you don't have English reading code base, do not clean your code. Leave it as it is, right? So that's my answer to it.
All
And
right.
that is the lower level abstraction of what Bruno and Hugo is saying.
Yeah.
Because they're saying the same thing. But you need to know both, because one needs to trigger the other. You need to connect the two. So you got to approach bottom up, which is what I'm saying, and top down, what Hugo and Bruno have been saying. And then you'll have a proper code base. And then you'll see it's not following the code complete or clean code theories fully. Doesn't matter. It'll help new people who come into the team blend in very quickly, and existing people will love what's there. And
Right.
business people will love you, because every time they'll come with a feature, bang, bang, bang. No bugs. Production people will love you as well.
And guys, there's one thing that I love about those conversations here, because you see on the internet, right? You see people just kind of, oh yes, this here is so important, this other thing is so important, right? And everyone says, no, you have to do 100% of this, 100% of that, right? There's so many people, each person kind of says, oh, this is the most important thing, right? And then everyone gets lost, like, if I do all those things, I'm never going to finish my project, right? And the reality, guys, is that that's the difference between a junior and a senior, guys like those two here, right? Because the junior, he has a tool, right? And say, oh, that's the tool that I'm going to use, so it has to be 100% of that, because that's the only thing I know, right? The senior knows a bunch of stuff, right? And he knows that he doesn't know everything, and he knows that he's going to apply the whatever is best for the best strategy, and he's going to apply as much as needed, right? And it's that thing about the person cooking a dinner, for example, right? And then a person like me that has zero cooking experience, I have to follow the recipe and do exactly what's said there. And if I miss one thing, it's going to be terrible, right? But the person who knows how to cook, it's kind of like following the recipe more or less, and he adding some little things and removing some other things, and you're like, man, this is all wrong. And in the end, it comes out great, right? And so that's the thing, right? So we as a community, right, we shouldn't be saying, oh, it's all wrong, right? We should actually enjoy the taste of the software later on, right? And so that's my point.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I hope Mimar has got the answers he's looking for, and he's going to be able to make a pragmatic decision based on everything he's heard in the last 10 minutes about his question.
Yes. There's one more question here that he talks about making mistakes. I think it's probably I see the last question. I don't see any more questions asking here. So maybe we're gonna finish that one, because we're a little bit over time here now. But and I know it's very late for money, right? So I just want to be conscious of everyone's time. It's a holiday in Brazil, and Hugo's here.
I'm good. I'm good. I can go on for another hour if it's interesting conversations like this.
Well,
That's invaluable for the community.
It's not on me, Mani. It's on questions, right? If people ask questions, we continue to answer here, because our
Yes.
goal here is to answer every single question, right? But
Yeah.
we have one more here from Mimar, and he says, should young software developers be assigned tasks at risky place in the project? What do you think about making mistakes, right? And then he wants me to record a video about making mistakes. So, Mimar, making mistakes is very important, right? So the one thing, there's a statement that I love. I don't know who said that, but it says, anything worth doing, it's worth doing badly, right? Because only when you do badly, when you make mistakes, you actually going to be you actually going to improve and become good enough. But right, you don't set yourself to make mistakes at showtime, right? A music band doesn't go on the stage to make mistakes, right? I don't know, like a Olympics athlete, right, doesn't go to the Olympics to make mistakes, right? We make mistakes while we learn, while we practice, while we try, right? So you don't make mistakes. You don't want to go and make mistakes in your production software, right? You make mistakes on during development. You make mistakes when you're experimenting technology. You make mistakes in all different moments, right? So be very careful about giving tasks that are beyond the ability of your young developers, right? You don't want them to be forced in a situation where they're going to be forced to make mistakes on important parts of the code because they don't know what it is, right? So be careful when you introduce people. Get them to experiment, right? Get them to, they could be writing the tests for critical part of the system, right? For example, because then whatever they do is not going to break the production code, for example. No, there's all kinds of ways, Mimar, that you can do to get to get people doing it on the right level of mistakes. That's what I say. And Mani put here, the quote is from J.K. Chesterton. I don't know who that
Chesterton.
person.
Chesterton. G.K. Chesterton.
Okay, G.K. Chesterton. So I'm gonna put here the quote and also gonna put here. So thanks a lot, Mani, for the quotes, right? So
that there is a caveat to the quote, as what Bruno just said. Don't use this everywhere literally, because then you'll be putting people who shouldn't be doing, like, when it's showtime, which is production system, you don't make mistakes, right? All these big bands like Guns N' Roses and something, they cannot even miss a note because people will notice it, and that's bad for their reputation, right? You can't afford to lose reputation like that with small mistakes. Oh yeah, we wanted a junior to go on live show because they can get some real world experience. No, I don't think that works that way. Real world experience, there are lots of small events and endeavors they could do, eventually grow up from that, and then one day when they will make 99%, 0.01% mistake, maybe they could be on the stage, right? And I mean, no one can be 100%, but that's probably what Bruno is talking about.
Yeah, there's a famous singer that says that when he doesn't practice one day, he notice. When he missed 2 days of practice, his wife noticed. When he missed 3 days of practice, the whole world noticed, right?
Probably his neighbors noticed as well.
Exactly, right? so basically, I think that's the important thing, right? You practice, right? You put yourself in practice situation, right? And practice, guys. I'm not saying, oh, don't, you stay home practicing your code on something. And no, that's not it, right? No, you practice by working on parts of the system that you can do that, right? Where mistakes are not so critical, right? You can work on the next version of the software, right? You can work on experimenting new technologies, for example. You can work on all kinds of different things that until you get to the level where you can actually go and fix the big issue, the risky things.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope this answer helps, Mimar, because this is a very important decision.
Yes.
It needs to be made right.
Right. So Hugo, did Mani did this to you? Did he put you to do on the worst part of the systems?
No, Mani is very. He gave me the right low hanging fruit. So yeah, I took some risky parts, but yeah, of them under control. I I think
That's a
I
great
feel
way.
yeah.
That's a way of doing an open source project, right? Because it's an
Sure,
experiment
it is.
project anyway, right? So you guys can make lots of mistakes because you're experiment. You're having fun with that. That's a great way of making mistakes, guys. Go do something that you have fun, right?
Exactly.
It's a great way to make mistakes, right?
Come and join our project. You can make plenty of mistakes. No one's going to complain. In fact, every mistake you make, it's opportunity to learn, right? Because even there was a situation where Hugo was like, should I take that option or that option? And I said, no, neither of those. Let's take this option. And when he did that, all the three options became clear to him. Why are we doing this? When we doing this? And when can we do this? And when should we not do this, right? So mistakes are all right. If he would have taken those two paths, he would be struggling and learning less and getting more frustrated, right? But when he was guided to the right path, all paths became clear.
Awesome. All right, guys. So we're out of time here. And do you wanna finish some last comments, Hugo?
Oh, yes. I think we have time to share the books of the session.
Oh yes, we forgot about
Yes.
that, right? So I did.
Hugo has a book. Hugo has a book to share.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes.
Just me. Yeah.
Wait. Before
Okay.
we do the books, we had a discussion here, and I'm gonna ask you guys online to help us decide. We had a discussion here if we should continue to call ourselves, this whole discussion here, the
Okay.
out of the box developer or the unboxed developer. So if you have a preference, what do you guys prefer? The out of the box developer or you prefer the unboxed developers, right? So whatever you prefer, just put a comment.
Put on the chat. Yeah. Put on the
That's
comment.
what to think about. And so yes, and so now we have the out of the box book idea. So Hugo, start with yours.
Oh, okay. So I wish to bring this designing data intensive application. It's I just put the link here. It helped me a lot many times when I have some more systems that have more data to deal and process and stuff like that. So it gives me a lot of good insights to make some trade-offs. So in the beginning, as we are talking about making trade-offs, that's a good one to have in your bookshelf. And yeah, when you are working with AI project and you are responsible for the architecture that supports it, it's always some discussions that bring it. It's because it's more most of them are the data intensive problems. So yeah, that's my suggestion for today.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot, Hugo. How about you, Mani? What's your book for today?
So I've got two books, not one, and both are non-technical books because we read a lot of technical books. I think we should balance it up by reading some non-technical books that really help us improve our habits. And for that, I have two non-technical books: Atomic Habits and Tiny Habits. They're kind of similar in idea, but they help you focus on finding out what are the habits you have and what are the habits you want to develop. So and these are tiny habits that if you practice regularly, you can make them part of your life, and then you automatically do them without having to think about them. It's everything from how you start your day, what you do in the afternoon, what you do in the evening, and you manage all these things, because at the end of the day, these are all habits that you have accumulated, and some habits you have to unlearn and some habits you have to learn. And these two books help you discover them and correct them and course correct your habits. So I highly recommend having a look at them, and some of them even have free extra material and samples, so you can go through all of that even before you try to buy the books. But the books themselves are not very expensive, but they're invaluable. and they have lots of good exercises. You can pace them out throughout the week. It's not like you're reading a novel. You're just going through step by step of it, and you're actually working on yourself, right? Because when you're in this technical field, you need to definitely control and have control over your habits, and course correct and steer your habits, because technology field can be quite distracting and can make you quite ungrounded.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so let me see. So I put the books on the chat, and also here on the so you can take a look. That's awesome. 2 books. So we today we talking about we decided to talk about open source, right? And there's all kinds of views that you can have about open source, and all kinds of ways you can think about open source. One non-traditional way that I like to think about open source comes from this book here called Remix, right? Remix is a great book. I was discussing this the other day in another live. It's a great book from this guy Lawrence Lessig, and Lawrence he's a lawyer, right? He's not a developer, right? So Lawrence Lessig is the guy that wrote the Culture Code, right? I mean, not the Culture Code, the Code of Culture, something like this. So it's he wrote a lot about open source, and the book Remix really shows you a different view of what open source is. How can you actually get content from a lot of different people and remix that content into something that's useful, right? So it's a great book for you to think about. So Mani's putting the link here. So thanks a lot, Mani. So I'm gonna put on the chat. And so here's on the chat. I'm gonna show here also. All right. So yeah, so that's the book for the day for me. Remix, right? It's a great way to think about open source, and that's exactly what Mani and Hugo are doing in their project, right? Because basically what they're doing is that they are creating a project that anyone can come in and add things to it and remix and make a different project, right? Makes a different thing. So that's a great way and makes a lot of sense with what we talk about here. All right, so that's great. So so that's the book, the Out of the Box Developer book. No one voted. We gotta do a better vote next time, man. We gotta start with voting next time. So what's the name of the group? So it's still good. It's still gonna continue to be the Out of the Box Developers. So Hugo, do you wanna say the last thanks there?
Oh yeah, I just want to thank everyone, especially those one that started our project. I see that we already have 12 stars there in the project. So thank you so much, people.
On the way to 200.
Yeah.
Yes, and then to 2000.
Exactly, and yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the discussion. I think at least for me it was very joyful discussions here, and I get a lot of learning also, and great questions from, especially from Myanmar. I think
Myanmar, yeah.
Myanmar. He asked a lot of interesting things, and I hope we could help you also, and everyone else that bring questions here. I hope to see much more questions in the next sessions also. So excited to connect with you guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
right.
Likewise.
Likewise.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Hugo has said it all, so I can only say a few more words. I think you guys run the show, just like Bruno is saying. The questions come from you, and we just get steered by those questions. And so every time the quality of questions are just improving, and the level of the questions are also going higher. So this series is becoming a great collection of conversations, and only because thanks to you, because also the participation, right? You're taking off an hour of your time to come here, listen to us, add to the conversation, ask us interesting questions, and and roll with it and take it away and learn from it and pass it on to other people. So I couldn't do anything more than thank you, and thank Bruno and Hugo also for being here, for facilitating, for starting this session. So all of you I'm indebted to all of you for being part of this journey with me.
That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, so Mimar is saying, we love a master like you. So we love you, Mimar. So thanks a lot. your questions were amazing today. Awesome. And let me quickly say hello to Max. Max looks like he just joined. So Max is here with us. We're actually transmitting on Max channels, right? And I'm not sure if Max wanted me to do that or not, but it was available. I'm transmitting on Max channel. So thanks a lot, Max, to being here with us. Thanks everyone from the Max Mediums community for being here with us. So that's awesome. All right. So thanks everyone. Thanks Hugo. Thanks Mani. It's great to have you guys here. Those conversations are awesome. And just so you guys know, this is the Out of the Box Developers. We try to meet twice a month, right, to have the discussion with you. And if you want to be connected with us, follow all of us here on Twitter, on YouTube, whatever it is, because it's great to have a conversation here. So thanks everyone, and I'll see you guys next time. So Urania says, thanks guys, it was wonderful as always. Open source for all. So we're gonna end with that, Urania, because I think that's a message, a great message. Open source for all. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.